Ciao! Gay Satanism Art Journal, SatanArt, number 28. SatanArt is a visual addition to the grimoire Gay Lust. The album theme is a satanic witches' Sabbath in the woods, among trees and nature. Puritan edition of Satanists' orgies. Supplement to the grimoire Gay Lust. The names of the paintings are in English. The album was compiled by a Satanist of His Majesty Satan, the Antichrist Slut Sodomia. Witches Sabbats can be viewed as picnics and thematic forms for Satanists in nature, connecting with forest spirits and natural forces. Satanic Sabbats can be viewed as gatherings of Satanists for fellowship, fun, sex, and the exchange of satanic experiences. Satan's spirit directly ranks above the natural spirits, but these spirits are more tangible, unlike the spirit of our teacher in hell. The difference between the forest spirits of the Sabbath and the spirits of hell lies in their clarity, tangible naturalness, and closeness to Satanists. Of course, forest spirits are a part of Satanism, and they have a positive effect on Satanists, even though they're not the spirit of Satan himself. Medieval theology, aka anti-satanic propaganda, identified 5 key concepts of witchcraft: a pact with the devil, intercourse with the devil, the flight of the witch, the Sabbath, and the infliction of hexes by witchcraft. According to medieval court records, every encounter between witches and their infernal lovers, or even the devil himself, was accompanied by revelry and pleasures. The culmination of this satanic revelry was the witches' nightly games, the main one being the Great Sabbath. People gather at the Witches' Sabbath to deepen their satanic spiritualization, to relax in nature, to connect with the spirits of the forest, to communicate with each other, to have sex, to meditate, and to consume beneficial entheogens. The start time and duration of the Sabbath depend on the wishes of the participants and the goals of the satanic event. It is believed that a Satanic Sabbath typically begins at midnight and during a full moon. As you can imagine, this idealistic version of the Sabbath doesn't always work out in practice. The Antichrist Slut Sodomia believes that the Sabbath can be held at any time, but it's best to select the time during the hours of darkness. Night in the forest is the most magical time for the forest spirits, and sunrise and sunset in the forest are also excellent times to begin the Sabbath. Besides the Sabbath itself, quite a bit of time is required to travel to the chosen location and for preparations upon arrival. During the Sabbath, it is advisable to bring oneself into an altered state of consciousness using beneficial natural entheogens, which the Antichrist Slut Sodomia wrote about in the grimoire of Gay Lust. The best entheogens for this are THC marijuana, red or panther mushrooms, and magical psilocybin mushrooms. All these substances are non-addictive and have a positive effect on the connection with Satan, deepening the influence of the forest holiday and the forest spirits on the consciousness of Satanists during the Sabbath. Should beneficial entheogens be given to children? I think this can be done once the child has developed awareness or already understands Satanism. For children, the dosage of entheogens should be reduced several times. For adult coven members, it is important to find the right dosage of entheogens and not overdo it to maintain a cheerful and energized state. Alcohol can be a supplement to entheogens, but it does not replace entheogens.
There are modern Satanists who prefer to live in cities and practice Satanism in the comforts of human civilization. Modern urban Satanists venture out into nature from time to time or never leave the city because the urban environment is more pleasant for them than the wild nighttime forest with its spirits. Therefore, the Antichrist slut sodomia doesn't claim that all Satanists practice forest Sabbats. For example, instead of holding a public Sabbath, the Antichrist slut sodomia prefers to gather mushrooms in the forest for food and winter storage. The Antichrist prefers this form of communion with nature. Introverts find communion with the spirits of the forest in solitude and silence very suitable. Of course, this isn't a witches' Sabbath, but it offers a way to escape the city into nature, to connect with the spirits of the forest. Satan's inspiration of the Antichrist replaces the need to participate in public witches' Sabbaths. Writing gay Satanist grimoires and creating SatanArt collections of visual art replaces the Antichrist's interaction with other Satanists at Sabbaths. The Antichrist sees you, my dears, through your drawings and songs online. The Antichrist is delighted by modern Satanist drawings and songs. You're great. The Antichrist is an introvert and self-sufficient, so he can do without a Sabbath. No, I admit I like the idea of a loving union of Satanists in nature in the form of a Sabbath of LGBTQ+ like-minded individuals. I've organized picnics, hiking trips, barbecues, and summer solstice celebrations in the countryside, but I've never participated in a traditional witches' Sabbath. Therefore, I will discuss the Satanist Sabbath as an idealized process, as I would like to see it. In the modern world, the Witches' Sabbath continues to exist, but its form has changed. It is no longer a secret gathering of a few individuals, but rather large-scale events that bring together devotees of mysticism and esotericism from all over the world. They come to share experiences, meet new practitioners and participants, and gain new knowledge and techniques. This is not only an opportunity to expand one's horizons, but also to immerse oneself in a unique community of like-minded individuals. The Witches' Sabbath has become an integral part of modern witchcraft and witchcraft culture. It allows witches to create a community, share experiences, and advance their practices. Witches' Sabbaths continue to attract women who want to learn magic, develop their skills, and immerse themselves in the world of ancient rituals. Moreover, a Witches' Sabbath is also a unique expression and recognition of one's individuality. Here, participants can experience a sense of freedom and belonging to a specific cultural and spiritual group. A Witches' Sabbath stimulates self-development and self-awareness, helping each participant express themselves and find their place in this world. Taken together, a Witches' Sabbath is a magical and spiritual event that fosters the growth and development of each participant, helping them gain new knowledge and experience, broaden their horizons, and connect with like-minded people.
In many countries, with particularly cannibalistic criminal groups in power, SOCG is an acronym for the true meaning of the word: State Organized Crime Group. Satanists, Satan, and Witches' Sabbaths are banned. For example, this is the case in the territory of the so-called Russia, which has been seized by the Russian Orthodox Church sect and Moscow's security services, led by Vladimir Putin. On July 23rd, the Supreme Court, following a lawsuit filed by the Prosecutor General's Office and the Ministry of Justice, declared the international Satanist movement extremist and banned it in Russia in a closed hearing. Kirill Gundayev, the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church sect, advocated for the designation of Satanists as extremists in early 2023. This means that not only Witches Sabbats and Satanist gatherings are banned, but also gatherings of Wiccans, witches, cosplayers, and any online publications by Russians about them, including the convening of Sabbaths. There are many Christian libels written in our world by so-called researchers and neo-inquisitors. Their main goal is to convey to the reader the idea that Witches Sabbats were a terrible and disgusting phenomenon. Therefore, I request that all books by Christian sectarians and non-Satanists about Satanism and Witches Sabbats in particular be considered 1. Profanation, 2. Defamatory propaganda by the forces of evil, 3. Lies, 4. Propaganda against Satanists, 5. The creation of a repulsive image of witches and their Sabbaths. Having sex, especially anal sex, is very good outdoors among like-minded Satanists. Sodomy is the most satanic of sex. It's especially good if the passive coven members, i.e. the females, have anal prolapses. Of course, a witch's coven doesn't have to have sex if it so chooses. A Satanic Sabbath can be with sex, called an outdoor orgy, or without sex, in the form of a Satanist forum. All Satanists love nature and don't want to pollute it, so I won't even hint that all human-made trash should be taken home, so as not to leave a polluted Sabbath site after the satanic orgy. Of course, this doesn't apply to the biodegradable waste of Satanists. Shit, urine, and food scraps can be left in the forest. The forest will eat them. It's advisable to bury this organic waste in a secluded place. This compost serves as a fertilizer for the forest. A hole for this waste can be prepared in advance, in preparation for the coven. In conclusion, I'll add an important nuance to organizing a witch's coven regarding the composition of the participants. All coven participants must have a satanic spirit. All participants must trust each other, complement each other, and value other coven members. Avoid inviting or bringing random people who have no connection to Satanism to the coven. This is perhaps the most important rule for organizing a witch's coven. There should be no random people at the coven. The most optimal situation is when coven members are both friends and lovers. In my opinion, such relationships in a witch's coven should be built from the start. A coven where the members don't like each other and can't fully trust each other naked, i.e. are embarrassed to be naked, should not hold covens outdoors. For this purpose, there is nature tourism, picnics, and forums. A Witches Sabbath in nature is necessarily held among loving Satanists who want to trust and love each other, share common sexual preferences, and are based on the shared satanic spirituality of all the Sabbath participants. Antichrist Slut Sodomia dedicates SatanArt number 30 to the outdoor group revelry of Satanists, known as the Witches Sabbath. Satanic bitches and active fuckers gather at the Sabbath to satisfy their satanic needs. The main goals of the Witches Sabbath are outdoor recreation, outdoor sex, socializing, and spiritualization with the spirits of forests, mountains, and bodies of water. The Witches Sabbath is akin to a Satanist picnic and an orgy at the same time. Although spiritualization by Satan or other spirits is an individual phenomenon, many Satanists enjoy the company of other Satanists. The Witches' Sabbath is the culmination of Satanic spiritualization, when individual Satanists merge in harmony with one another, united by the spirit of Satan through the quantum spiritualization of the external information field. I hope the Witches' Coven images from SatanArt number 30 will serve as a visual guide for modern Satanists to organize covens and covens within the LGBTQ+ community.
In the name of Satan, Lucifer, the Most High.